The chandeliers at the Belmont Country Club glowed above me, their golden light reflecting off crystal glasses and polished silverware. Everyone was smiling, except me. On my 29th birthday, my mother-in-law stood up, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor, and held out a shimmering gold envelope. "From all of us, Hannah," she said sweetly, her voice carrying across the crowded dining room. My husband raised his phone, already recording. His sister grinned, live streaming for the world to see. I tore the envelope open, expecting a birthday card. Instead, my breath caught as the bold letters screamed back at me, "Petition to terminate custody rights." On my birthday. In front of strangers. They wanted to take my son away, and capture my humiliation forever. But what they didn't know, was that I had been preparing for this moment all along. The Texas sun was just beginning to set, spilling burnt orange light through the tall windows of the Livingston estate. The air inside felt cooler than outside, but heavy, like the house itself was holding its breath. I padded down the polished oak staircase, the quiet echo of my steps filling the silence. I was on my way to the kitchen for a cup of coffee before my evening shift. I expected the room to be empty. Linda never sat there at this hour. But she was. There she was, my mother-in-law, perched at the head of the dining table like a queen at her throne. A neat stack of official-looking documents lay spread before her. Reading glasses slid halfway down her nose, her manicured fingers moving with precision as she scribbled notes in the margins with a red pen. Her focus was so sharp, so predatory, that for a moment she didn't hear me. Then my heel creaked against the hardwood. She froze. Her head snapped up, eyes flashing, satisfaction, not surprise. In that split second, I saw something raw, something triumphant etched into her face. Not disapproval. Not disappointment. Satisfaction. "Hannah," she said suddenly, her tone switching like a mask snapping into place. With surprising speed for a woman in her 60s, she gathered the papers, slid them into a shimmering gold envelope decorated with embossed lilies, and tucked it neatly beside her purse. I forced a smile. That looked important. "Do you need any help?" Her lips curved into a sweetness that felt unnatural, syrup poured over poison. "Oh, nothing you need to worry about, dear. Just some family paperwork." Dear. She had never once called me that. Usually I was Jake's wife, or worse, she. The word hung in the air, wrong, heavy. Like she was testing how it sounded before discarding it forever. My eyes lingered on the envelope. Pale gold, with embossed flowers dancing along its edges. Beautiful. Innocent. The kind of envelope that should hold wedding vows or birthday wishes. But I'd caught a glimpse of something before it disappeared, one single word, stamped in black across the page. Custody. And the way she smiled at me then, it wasn't kindness. It was victory. The Livingston estate sat on the edge of Dallas, a sprawling property with white stone walls and iron gates that creaked open like the doors of a cathedral. Inside, everything gleamed, marble floors polished to mirror shine, oil portraits of ancestors staring down with disapproving eyes, and chandeliers that hummed with the quiet arrogance of old money. And then there was me. Hannah Cooper. 29 years old, raised by a single mom who waitressed her whole life. I followed in her footsteps, working double shifts at a modest Italian restaurant on the east side of town. I wore the uniform of the service industry, black slacks, worn flats, and a smile that had to stretch further than it felt. To Linda Livingston, my mother-in-law, that smile was my scarlet letter. She was 62, always immaculate. Her pearls rested perfectly against tailored navy blazers, her perfume lingering in every hallway. Her voice was clipped and polished, every word carrying judgment. To her, I wasn't a wife. I was an embarrassment. A waitress pretending to be a wife to my son. Jake, my husband, was the bridge I thought would unite two worlds. He was 31, a junior attorney still climbing the ranks at his mother's firm's circle of influence. Handsome in his charcoal suits, he had the kind of smile that made waitresses give him extra refills. I used to think that smile was my safety. Lately, I wondered if it was just another mask, passed down from Linda herself. Then there was Chloe. 25. Always in silk, always with her phone angled just right. She lived half her life on Instagram stories, and the other half making sure people like me felt out of place. Her laughter was sharp, designed to cut. She didn't need words to make me feel small, just a glance over her wine glass, her camera catching me at the wrong moment, her followers laughing at captions like, "Family dinners are always interesting." I tried. God, I tried. Dinner parties, charity luncheons, even book clubs where no one actually read. I would show up in my best dress, Target disguised as Nordstrom, sit at those endless polished tables, and feel the weight of 1,000 comparisons. Inside, I told myself, if I work harder, if I smile wider, if I prove myself just one more time, maybe they'll see me. But the truth was written in the pauses. The silence after I spoke. The way Linda introduced me as Jake's wife, without ever saying my name. The way Chloe's smirk hovered when I tried to join a conversation about travel or investments. I was always outside, looking in. And still, part of me hoped. Hoped that this birthday dinner at the country club was the moment things might finally change. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the kitchen windows, bouncing off the marble countertops until everything looked too bright, too perfect. I was pouring cereal for my son when the phone buzzed across the counter. Linda Livingston. For a moment, I hesitated. Linda never called me directly. Usually, messages came filtered through Jake, short, clipped instructions, never warm. But today, her name glowed on my screen. I answered cautiously. "Hello." Her voice floated through, honeyed and deliberate. "Hannah, dear, we've been thinking. This year, for your birthday, we want to do something special. Something worthy of you." I froze, spoon midair. "Dear?" Again. I tried to steady my voice. "Oh, that's very kind of you. We've booked the Belmont Country Club," she continued, each word polished like silver. "It will be lovely. Jake and Chloe are already helping with the arrangements. It's time we celebrate you properly." For a moment, I almost believed her. The Belmont was their crown jewel, a place I'd only ever been invited to as a shadow beside Jake. I imagined myself there, not serving wine, not clearing plates, but sitting among them as if I belonged. "Thank you," I whispered, unable to hide the tremor in my voice. "That means a lot." On the other end of the line, I heard the faintest pause before she spoke again, smoother this time, like she'd caught herself. "It will be a night to remember." When the call ended, I clutched the phone to my chest, heart pounding with something I hadn't felt in years, hope. Maybe, after everything, she had decided to see me. Maybe this was my chance to finally step out of the shadows and into her world. But when I turned, I caught Jake standing in the doorway. He was already dressed in his slate gray suit, tie knotted too tight. His eyes didn't quite meet mine. "You heard?" I asked, smiling nervously. "She wants to celebrate me at the country club." He gave a small smile, the corners of his lips twitching like he was holding back words. "Yeah. It'll be memorable." His tone should have reassured me. Instead, it lodged in my chest like a splinter. The days leading up to my birthday felt different. At first, it was subtle. Chloe, who normally avoided me at all costs, suddenly began texting. Not insults disguised as jokes this time, but questions. "What color are you wearing? Do you like roses or lilies?" She even sent me a picture of a sequin dress, writing, "This would look stunning on you." I stared at the screen for a long time. Chloe had never complimented me in her life. Not once. My stomach fluttered. Was this real? Or was she mocking me behind her glowing phone? Then there was Jake. Normally, he was glued to his briefcase and endless emails. But that week, he carried his phone like a secret. I'd catch him at the kitchen counter, thumb flying across the screen, lips twitching into a satisfied smile. When I leaned closer, he angled it away. What's so funny? I teased one night, pretending lightness. He kissed my cheek too quickly, almost rehearsed. Just planning something special. You'll see. My chest tightened. Planning. Special. The words should have been comforting. But the way he said them, it was like he was in on a joke I didn't understand. Linda's behavior was the strangest of all. She called twice in one day, her tone syrupy sweet. Hannah, dear, are you free Thursday evening? We want to make sure you don't have to work that night at the, what's it called? Romano's. Romano's. She said it like the word itself was a stain. Still, I forced a cheerful answer. Yes, I'm off. I can't wait. Oh, good, she replied, satisfaction dripping from every syllable. This dinner means so much to us. But when she thought I'd hung up, I swear I heard it, the faintest click of her tongue, followed by a chuckle. The sound echoed in my head long after the call ended. That night, as I tucked my son into bed, he looked up at me with his sleepy eyes. Mom, are we finally going to Grandma Linda's club? Jake said it's fancy. I smoothed his hair, smiling through the unease knotting in my stomach. Yes, sweetheart. We are. Inside, though, I whispered to myself, something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. But, what if this is real? What if this is the night they finally see me? Hope and dread battled in my chest, neither willing to let go. The Belmont Country Club glittered that night. Chandeliers spilled golden light across polished marble floors, waiters in crisp black vests moved like clockwork, and a low jazz quartet played from the corner, their notes smooth and deceptive, like honey over glass. As we entered, I felt the weight of 100 eyes. Members with diamond bracelets and tuxedos nodded politely at Jake and Linda, their smiles slipping when they saw me. I tugged at my navy dress, suddenly unsure if it was elegant enough for a room that smelled of money and old power. Linda led the way, regal in sapphire silk, pearls catching every shard of light. Chloe drifted behind us, phone already in her hand, angling it just so. I caught her reflection in the glass doors, her smirk as sharp as broken crystal. At our table, the wine flowed quickly. Jake sat close, his hand firm on my shoulder, as if grounding me, or holding me in place. The conversations buzzed around us, laughter punctuating the air, but beneath it all, I felt a current. Something rehearsed. Something waiting. Then it began. Linda rose gracefully, heels clicking against the marble, her glass lifted high. To Hannah, she announced, voice carrying across the dining room. Heads turned, forks paused. On her 29th birthday, we have prepared something truly special. Something, from all of us. Applause fluttered like polite rain. My cheeks burned. For the first time, maybe, just maybe, I felt seen. Then Linda reached into her designer clutch and pulled out a shimmering gold envelope, the same one I had seen days earlier. My breath caught. She held it up for everyone to admire, smiling with pride. A gift of new beginnings. Jake was already raising his phone, angling it to catch my face. Chloe leaned forward, live streaming, her nails tapping impatiently against the stem of her glass. The envelope was placed in my trembling hands. The gold shimmered under the chandeliers, butterflies embossed along the edges. Innocent. Beautiful. Deadly. I slid my finger beneath the seal. Paper tore. Silence fell. The first words leapt off the page in bold, black print. Petition to terminate custody rights. The letters screamed at me louder than the jazz band, louder than the laughter that still echoed faintly in the background. My throat tightened. My son. They were taking my son. On my birthday. In front of strangers. I looked up. Linda's smile was radiant, triumphant. Chloe's eyes glittered with anticipation. And Jake, my husband, watched me with a mixture of nerves and something worse. Excitement. My humiliation wasn't an accident. It was the entertainment. Linda's voice sliced through the heavy silence. Well, dear, she said sweetly, sliding a pen across the table, aren't you going to sign? Right here. In front of everyone. The chandeliers seemed to dim. My pulse roared in my ears. Every detail, wine glasses clinking, forks scratching porcelain, strangers' stares, seared into me like a brand. This was their stage. And I was meant to be the performance. The paper in my hands trembled, but not as much as I did. The words blurred, then sharpened, then blurred again. Petition to terminate custody rights. I could feel the room watching, hungry eyes, curious eyes, pitying eyes. The jazz band kept playing, notes hollow and out of place, as if the world itself was mocking me. My chest tightened until every breath felt stolen. For a moment, I thought I might collapse right there on the velvet chair. My vision narrowed to a tunnel, the bold black letters, Linda's gleaming smile, Chloe's phone lens locked on me, Jake's hand twitching with excitement as he steadied his recording. They want me to break. Right here. Right now. They want to see me crumble into dust while they sip champagne. Memories flooded, uninvited. The nights I worked double shifts at Romano's, aching feet shoved into worn flats, whispering promises to my son that this was temporary. The mornings I woke before dawn to make him pancakes shaped like dinosaurs, just to see him smile. The time he whispered in my ear, "Mom, you're my hero," while falling asleep against my chest. And here, under chandeliers worth more than my yearly salary, they were trying to erase all of it with a single sheet of paper. My eyes burned, but no tears fell. No, crying would give them the show they wanted. I looked up. Linda leaned forward, her pearls glowing under the golden light. Go on, dear, she coaxed, her voice dripping with sugar and venom. It's just a signature. Chloe's red nails danced against her phone screen. She was live. Broadcasting my humiliation to hundreds, maybe thousands, of strangers. Jake's phone hovered inches from my face, capturing every twitch, every shallow breath. I felt the trap tighten. The performance they had rehearsed for weeks was reaching its climax. All I had to do was break. And for a moment, I almost did. My hand clenched around the pen, knuckles white, heart cracking into 1,000 sharp pieces. Maybe it's easier to give in. Maybe I'm not strong enough to fight them anymore. But then, a flicker. Small, fragile, but bright. I saw my son's face, his wide, trusting eyes. I heard his little voice, "Mom, you're my hero." Hero. Not victim. Not spectacle. Hero. The roaring in my ears quieted. My breath steadied. The panic didn't vanish, but it shifted, into something harder, sharper. Clarity. I straightened slowly, letting the silence stretch until it hummed. My fingers smoothed the paper flat against the table. I looked at Linda, then Chloe, then Jake. One by one. And I smiled. Not the smile of defeat. Not the polite mask I'd worn for years. But something colder. Stronger. Because for the first time, I realized, their perfect trap had just given me the perfect weapon. The pen felt icy between my fingers, its weight heavier than steel. All around me, the room buzzed with a silence that wasn't silence at all, forks pausing midair, whispers caught in throats, Chloe's livestream chat pinging like a chorus of vultures. Linda leaned closer, her pearls brushing the edge of her glass, voice silk and venom. Go on, Hannah. Sign it. Make this easy, for everyone. Chloe's phone tilted, capturing every tremor in my hand. Jake's camera focused so close I could see my reflection in its black screen, small, cornered, humiliated. Exactly the reaction they wanted. So I gave them something else. With one steady motion, I bent down and signed my name across the line. My handwriting flowed smoothly, each curve of ink burning with defiance. The pen clicked shut. Gasps rippled across the table. Jake froze, lowering his phone just an inch. You signed it. His voice cracked, disappointment and confusion tangling together. Linda's triumphant smile faltered, just barely. Well, she said, trying to recover, that was quicker than expected. I folded the papers carefully, sliding them back into the gold envelope. Then, with deliberate calm, I reached into my purse. My fingers brushed the edge of another envelope, plain white, unassuming, before pulling it free. This, I said, my voice clear and carrying, is my gift to you. I laid it on the table, right beside Linda's glittering envelope. The contrast was almost laughable, her gold butterflies against my simple white. Linda's eyes narrowed. Chloe tilted her phone closer. Jake blinked, caught off guard. I slid the envelope open, and the official letterhead gleamed beneath the chandeliers. 3 days ago, I said, each word sharp as glass, while you were preparing these papers, I was receiving mine. A job offer. Guest Services Manager, Grand Vista Hotel, Boston. The silence cracked. $70,000 a year. Full benefits. Housing included. I let the details fall like hammers. In 2 weeks, my son and I will be gone, building a life far away from all this. Linda's mouth opened, but no words came out. Chloe's phone wavered, her smirk collapsing. Jake's face drained of color, his camera slipping lower, forgotten. I leaned back in my chair, the gold envelope beside me like a trophy. So thank you, Linda. Truly. Tonight, you didn't take my future away. You handed it back to me. For a long, suspended moment, the chandeliers seemed to glow brighter, as if the entire room was holding its breath. Then, from somewhere near the bar, a single pair of hands began clapping. Slow. Deliberate. The sound spread, rolling across the dining room until the entire country club erupted in applause. Strangers, servers, even the jazz band joined in. Not for Linda. Not for Jake. For me. I turned, letting the applause wash over me, and for the first time in years, I didn't feel small. I felt powerful. The applause swelled, rolling like thunder against the vaulted ceilings of the Belmont Country Club. For a second, I thought I was imagining it. But then I turned, and saw faces. Dozens of them. Strangers, servers, members in tuxedos and gowns. They weren't laughing at me. They were applauding me. The bartender wiped his hands on a towel and clapped, eyes bright with pride. The jazz band struck a triumphant note, the saxophone player lifting his instrument like a salute. Even the waiters, those invisible figures who usually blended into the background, smiled openly, clapping as if I'd just won a victory for every underdog who'd ever served a plate in this room. Linda stiffened, pearls trembling against her throat. What on earth are you all doing? She hissed, her voice cracking. From the far side of the dining room, a man in a navy blazer called out, "She deserves it. She signed your papers and still walked away stronger. That's real class." Chloe's phone tilted downward. Her live stream chat pinged wildly, emojis of clapping hands, hearts, fireworks. The smirk that had been glued to her lips all night finally dissolved. I felt a hand squeeze my shoulder. I turned and saw Mrs. Wilkins, a longtime club member who always treated me with polite indifference at charity luncheons. Tonight, her eyes glistened. "You don't let anyone define you, darling," she whispered, loud enough for the nearby tables to hear. "Not them. Not ever." Jake's camera phone drooped lower and lower until it pointed at the floor. His jaw clenched, but his eyes betrayed him: shame, confusion, the realization that their ambush had flipped into a spectacle of their own downfall. And then, Mr. Romano. My old boss. He had been sitting quietly near the back with his wife, longtime members of the club. He stood now, his voice booming across the hall. "I've known Hannah for years. She's smart. She's loyal. She's the kind of woman you want in your corner. If the Grand Vista Hotel is smart enough to see that, then maybe the rest of you should open your eyes." The room erupted again, louder this time, glasses lifted in impromptu toasts. Someone shouted, "To Hannah," and the chorus echoed, "To Hannah." I sat there, stunned, as the applause surrounded me like a shield. Their approval, their validation, was something Linda had tried for years to strip from me. And now, it came pouring in, unstoppable. Linda's face drained of color. Her stage, her carefully orchestrated humiliation, had turned into my coronation. And for the first time in my life, under those golden chandeliers, I felt what it was like to be truly seen. The applause thundered on, echoing across crystal glasses and velvet drapes. I sat tall, letting the sound roll over me like armor. But across the table, the Livingston family crumbled. Linda's perfectly powdered face tightened, every line etched with fury. Her pearls trembled against her collarbone as she hissed, "Stop this nonsense. Sit down, all of you." Her voice cracked, sharp as shattered glass. But no one listened. The room that once bowed to her status now turned their eyes away, some even shaking their heads. Chloe's live-streamed chat exploded across her phone. "OMG, she's a queen. Linda looks so fake. This is embarrassing for them." Her manicured hands shook, the camera jerking until she slammed it face down on the table. Her followers had just witnessed their downfall in real time. Jake's phone lowered completely now, his knuckles pale as he gripped it. His eyes darted between me and his mother, confusion flickering into panic. You planned this?" he stammered, his voice thin. I met his gaze, calm and steady. "No, Jake. I survived this. There's a difference." Gasps rippled through the crowd at my words. The sound was louder than any of Linda's past gossip, louder than all her whispers about my unworthiness. Linda slammed her glass onto the table, wine spilling across the white cloth like a spreading wound. "You think this changes anything?" she spat, voice shaking. "You're still nothing but a..." Enough. The word left my lips sharper than I intended, but it silenced her. My voice carried across the chandeliers, steady, unbroken. "For years, you've tried to erase me. Tonight, you exposed yourselves instead." Chloe's cheeks flushed crimson, her phone buzzing relentlessly as her own audience turned against her. Jake sat frozen, lips parted but no words coming out, as if the script he'd rehearsed had been ripped from his hands. And Linda, for the first time, Linda Livingston looked small. I leaned forward, folding my new job offer back into its envelope with deliberate care. "You wanted an audience for my humiliation. Instead, you've given me witnesses to your cruelty. And unlike you, they won't forget." The silence that followed was suffocating, for them, not me. Then, a voice from the crowd, firm and clear: "She deserves better than this family." More murmurs rose. Agreement. Judgment. Condemnation. All of it aimed at the Livingstons. Linda's hand twitched toward her pearls as if they could protect her from the weight of so many eyes. "But pearls can't shield you from truth." Jake shifted uncomfortably, sweat beading at his temples. Chloe tried to fix her hair, but her hands shook too much. Their empire of appearances had cracked wide open. And me? For the first time, I wasn't the one shrinking in my chair. I wasn't the waitress trying to belong. I was the woman who had taken their stage, their spotlight, and turned it into my victory. Their downfall was complete. The night ended not with tears, but with silence, the kind that follows a storm when the wreckage is plain for everyone to see. Linda gathered her clutch with trembling hands, pearls rattling against the glassware as she rose. Chloe muttered excuses about her phone dying, though her live stream had already burned their humiliation into permanence. Jake tried to salvage the moment, whispering, "Hannah, wait, we can fix this." But I was already on my feet, the white envelope clutched like a torch in the darkness. "No, Jake," I said, my voice steady, final. "You just watched your family try to erase me. And you joined them. There's nothing left to fix." I walked out of the Belmont Country Club with applause still echoing behind me, my heels clicking against the marble like a victory march. The Dallas night air wrapped around me, cool, clean, alive. For the first time in years, I could breathe. 2 weeks later, the moving truck pulled away from my small rented apartment. My son clutched his stuffed dinosaur, peering out the window as Austin's skyline rose ahead of us. "Mom," he whispered, his voice full of awe, "is this our new home?" I smiled, tears prickling, not from sadness, but relief. "Yes, sweetheart. This is our fresh start." The Grand Vista Hotel stood tall, glass windows gleaming like a promise. The lobby was a cathedral of possibility, marble floors, sweeping staircases, a chandelier even grander than the one at Belmont, but this one didn't mock me. It welcomed me. Jessica Martinez, my new supervisor, greeted me with a warm handshake. "We're glad you're here, Hannah. You're exactly what this place needs." Those words were more than a job offer. They were validation. Proof that the years of rejection, the endless nights at Romano's, the cruel laughter of the Livingstons, all of it had forged me into someone stronger, someone who belonged. That night, after settling into the furnished apartment provided by the hotel, I stood on the balcony with my son. The city lights sparkled below like scattered stars. He leaned against me, sleepy but smiling. "Mom," he murmured, "you really are my hero." And this time, I believed him. I wasn't the woman they tried to break anymore. I was free. I was enough. And I was just getting started. The city lights stretched out before me, glowing like a map of second chances. I stood on my balcony, my son asleep inside, his small breath steady and safe. The night air was cool against my skin, but my heart was warm, steady, strong, unshakable. For years, I believed I had to earn their approval. That if I just worked harder, smiled wider, bent myself smaller, they would finally let me in. But here's the truth I wish someone had told me sooner. You don't need to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. Family isn't the people who belittle you, who try to strip away your worth. Family is the ones who stand by you, who clap when you succeed, who remind you you're enough even when the world says otherwise. If you're watching this and you've ever felt like you weren't good enough, at work, at home, in love, hear me now, you are. You always were. Sometimes, it just takes walking away from the wrong people to finally see it. So tell me, if you were in my shoes, standing in that country club with those papers in your hand, would you have signed them? Drop your answer in the comments below. I want to hear your truth. And if this story lit a spark in you, don't forget, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Because we share stories like this every week, stories of women who refuse to stay down, who turned betrayal into freedom. This isn't the end of my story. It's only the beginning. And maybe, it's the beginning of yours, too.